I am so happy to be with Michael Leander. He's an international marketing speaker. He's been all over the world in more than 40 countries on 6 continents. And he actually promised me to give you an insight on customer experience. Michael, please.
So thanks for having me, Christian. It's wonderful to be here, sit around the fireplace and have an experience with this. So when we talk about customer experience, I think there are a number of angles that we could touch upon. But I think first and foremost, businesses need to completely understand whom their ideal customer is. I think a lot of businesses are suffering because on one hand they are dealing with their ideal customers. They may account for 20% of the total customer base, if you want to use that old 20-80 rule, but 80% of them are not really ideal. And that hurts them in multiple ways. One is that they're really servicing customers that aren't fit for them. But secondly, they're probably also trying to acquire new customers that look like the 80% that are wrong. So I'm a great believer in developing what I call a customer strategy, and that sounds like fancy-pantsy, but it really isn't. It's just a matter of being very concrete about whom you want to serve and where do you have the largest percentage of being able to serve customers with satisfaction, so that you essentially are planning for a customer for life as opposed to a customer for a few transactions and they go and then you replace them with somebody else.
So that means that we shouldn't make all our customers happy, or what?
No, I think we have to try to make all of our customers happy. But what I'm saying is that this really starts at the time when you are setting out to acquire customers. You want to be able to match as precisely as possible your ideal customers, because your ideal customers are much more likely to be happy with what you have and therefore also be more, let's say, satisfied, or if you will, loyal. It's not really the same thing, satisfaction and loyalty, and be able to stay with you longer and essentially also recommend you to others that are similar to them. So what I'm saying is that if it didn't come across the way I meant it, what I'm saying really is that if you're a new business, the first thing you want to do is outline exactly whom do you want to be there for, right? And then try to only target those customers because you're much more likely to be able to serve them to their fullest satisfaction.
I think that's a very common mistake among many companies, that we want as many customers as possible. So first of all, segment our customers, figure out what are our key customers, and then how can we turn them to ambassadors and customers for life.
Absolutely. And I think with that comes, so if you have wrong customers, what I was trying to say before is that if you're giving the same level of service to all of your customers, regardless of their size, their future potential, whether they're fit for your product or service or not, I think you're doing something wrong. So differentiating whatever services or products you have, depending on what type of customers they are, I think is also a great strategy. You're seeing in our market in Denmark, you're seeing banks doing that. Danske Bank with their so-called loyalty program. In my opinion, it's not really a loyalty program, but it is an attempt for them to say, if you're a small customer, if you're insignificant to us, if we can't grow you, you're at the lowest level of our ladder, which essentially means you pay more than other customers, you don't get the same level of service and so on, as opposed to somebody whom the bank has a large share wallet with. In other words, they have their loans, with whatever kind of loans they are, their savings, their investments, the children's, etc., and they're given a much better service, which in turn makes them more likely to stay with the bank.
So actually we kind of have to fire some of our customers. Is that what you're saying?
You know that I did that years and years ago, fired 600 customers, because they were taking up resources that then could otherwise not be allocated to the most profitable customers. And since those customers were not able to, in a short period of time, become profitable customers, right? So if they were transacting only, let's say, in today's value, maybe $3,000 and you have a low margin business, you can't really afford to give much service. So if on one hand they're not profitable now, on the other hand they're not likely to grow in the immediate future, then you got to do something. But most businesses don't, Because as we spoke about before, all customers are alike. A customer is a customer. And then they focus on customers with higher revenue. That's their best customers. But you and I know both. That may not be the case if you look at it from a profitability point of view. Because revenue is one thing, it's up here, but bottom line is a different thing. And some large customers, I think you know that from your business, I certainly do from mine, they require a lot of time, a lot of special service, and they think they're oh so important, and they are freaking important. But likely they're also paying less, right? Because of that volume. And in turn, they're not really as profitable as maybe somebody you consider a mid-size customer. It doesn't have the same level of revenue, but is not asking for the same special services, not asking for all of those discounts and so on. They may be much more profitable now, and maybe there's a great opportunity to grow the volume and grow the profitability if you can make them very happy with what you do. I think this makes sense, right? So yes, I believe, if customers aren't not going to become profitable customers, if it's not realistic that they will become profitable customers sometime in the future, then probably you shouldn't be doing business with them. Having said that, and I know we're short on time here, I do want to mention one component that we also have to take into consideration because of the digital world we live in. And let me give you an example. So you are a customer of mine. You're not the biggest customer, but you're an influential guy. You meet a lot of people, you talk at conferences and seminars all over the world. So as you may not be a large customer in monetary terms, maybe you could do a lot of good for me in terms of referral. So when you speak around, when you have meetings, when you talk to people, you might say, you should talk to this Michael Leander guy because, he can do so and so for you. So I think that reputation and influencer component is something we need to take into account as well. So to summarize that, we may have customers that are currently not profitable and that are not likely to become very much more profitable in the future, but if they're influential, maybe we should still consider servicing them and giving them the full package, because that level of satisfaction may in turn ignite them to start spreading the word about the service, how happy they are about the service, etc.
Very interesting. So to summarize, our first insight would be like, first you have to segment your customers, find the most profitable ones or the most influential ones, and then start to do something special for them, create great service, create great customer experience for them.
Absolutely, and you nailed it. Any customer you want to keep, you have to serve to the best of your ability and then a little bit more to ensure that they really enjoy the experience and they are not even dreaming about considering any of your competitors.